Welcome everyone out there in YouTube land. Yes, you there. So where are we today? Well, in our last video, we were here on the Jubilee Bridge, quite near to the Merlion, as you can see. Yes, and if you remember in our last video, we crossed the bridge and we went to the Esplanade Park. Yes, and at the park, I told you there was a mystery, a secret that not many people remember. But look at this platform here. Yes, this platform. In this platform, in the past, the Merlion used to stand here, shooting out its water. But then what happened? They built the Esplanade Bridge. And because the Esplanade Bridge was blocking the Merlion, they moved the Merlion to its present place in front of the bridge at the Merlion Park, facing MBS. So remember, this small little platform here in the past used to hold, or the original place where the Merlion used to stand. Yes, it standed there, and it used to stand at or in front or beside this bridge, which is called the Anderson Bridge. Yes, this Anderson Bridge was built in 1910 and it's actually a vehicular bridge. So people used to drive vehicles over the bridge. And again is the Esplanade Bridge, and remember we are on Queen Elizabeth Walk. In the past, this walk here used to be right in front of the sea. Here used to be seawater, but now it's a freshwater reservoir. Yes, freshwater reservoir filled with fresh water, and now fresh water flows under the Anderson Bridge right in front of the old General Post Office or Fullerton Hotel. So over here you see the Anderson Bridge. This bridge was actually built because in the 1880s the trade along the Singapore River was very flourishing, and so the previous bridge over here, the Cavanagh Bridge, which is still around, could not support this increasing traffic, and because of that they needed to build a bigger bridge, and this bridge was built for that reason. And because they built this bridge, they were supposed to demolish the Cavenagh Bridge, but because of certain reasons, it actually saved the Cavenagh Bridge. What is that reason? Unfortunately, I'm not going to tell you, at least not immediately, not right now. You just have to wait a bit. I'll tell you shortly, in a short time. Here we now are at Boat Quay, and in the past this area here used to be the busiest part of the old Singapore port, handling almost 3/4 of all shipping business during the 1860s. And what's really important here is you notice there's actually a very old style bridge right in front of us, and that bridge is actually the Cavenagh Bridge, right next to the old governmental area of Singapore. And as we are walking along the Singapore River, you'll notice this bridge here, and this bridge is right next to the old governmental site of Singapore and the financial district of Singapore. So this bridge here, as you can see, an old bridge because of the design, very classic old design, and also because of its location, it is a very important bridge in this district, the civic and commercial district of Singapore. So what you have behind me is the Cavenagh Bridge. It's an old bridge in Singapore. Behind me now is the Cavenagh Bridge, originally known as Edinburgh Bridge, and it was actually named originally after the Duke of Edinburgh, who visited this area. So they commemorate this bridge by naming it after him. Built in 1869, quite a long time ago, and then later changed to Cavenagh Bridge after the, who was that guy? Some Cavenagh guy. So this bridge was named in honor of Major General Ophir Cavenagh, who was the last Indian appointed governor of the Strait Settlement. And if you look at the bridge closely, you can still see the coat of arms of the Cavanagh family still on top of the bridge at both ends. So you can actually see some bronze statue of some of the activities that used to happen or used to occur around this area here. And now we are at the bridge. Look at this suspension bridge. They do not build bridges like this anymore. This is the suspension cables that helps to support the bridge. And if we hit in the middle here, you notice they actually kept an old warning sign that used, or this old police notice. And reading the material there, you can tell that it's a very old sign. And on top there, like I told you, the coat of arms of the Cavanagh family right on top there. And there's another one at the other end of the bridge. So in the past, this used to be the only way to get from the civic side or the governmental area of Singapore to the commercial side. So carts, pedestrians used to cross here to get from one side to the other. If not, they had to take a boat across the river. Yep. In the past, buildings were not so tall. The bridge behind me here is actually called the Anderson Bridge, completed in 1910, and it was created to actually replace a bridge slightly up ahead, which is called Cavenagh Bridge, which is an old bridge, one of the earlier bridges that connects the business side of old Singapore to the governmental side of Singapore. And so what happens was they created the bridge, but due to some miscalculation, I wonder why, the bridge was not built high enough. So during high tide, even now you can see the distance between the sea and the bridge is quite small. So lots of ships couldn't pass under, and even during high tide, definitely during high tide, couldn't go under. So because of that, they didn't demolish the Cavenagh Bridge up ahead and kept both bridges and converted the Cavenagh Bridge from a vehicular bridge to a pedestrian bridge, and used this instead to be a vehicular bridge. And since we are here, why don't we just get a closer look at this bridge here, which is the Anderson Bridge. Because we just walked past the Cavenagh Bridge earlier. Okay, so this is the Anderson Bridge. As you can see, the under area of the bridge here is quite narrow, not high enough for a normal ship to go under. So ships that actually go under here is actually most likely the bunk boats and the tongkangs, which used to ply the trade around this area here. And if you look here, you can see that this building has a basic arch structure comprising mainly 3 steel arches with powerful ribs, and also rusticated archways with a fluted pier at each end. And the steelworks you see that makes up this bridge was actually fabricated in Britain and shipped over to Singapore. And they do not build bridges like this anymore. First of all, because too much metal, and then now we have concrete, which allows us to make bigger, longer, less pretty bridges, ugly bridges, but look quite majestic, but not as pretty as this type of bridges, which has a very classical, very beautiful style, which you can't find much nowadays. Right next to the Anderson Bridge is this iconic landmark building on the Singapore River, which is the former Fullerton Building, or the General Post Office Building. This building in the past used to house the General Post Office in Singapore. So this building here, the Fullerton Building, not only did it hold the post office, but many governmental offices used to have their offices here, and also the Singapore Chamber of Commerce. This place here still is fondly remembered as the General Post Office Building, because in the past, letters, mail used to be a very important way to communicate with people. And before aeroplanes were around, people used to send letters, and the letters were shipped around the world on ships. So post office was a very important and played a vital role in people communicating with each other, also governments communicating with all the departments around the world. So it's a very important place, and so the post office had an important role in every society. And so, I hope you enjoyed our walk today. We have walked for a short distance, but we have seen a lot of things around here. Important things in the past, areas. In the past, the roads, mail, these were important ways of communication. So bridges, roads, letters, mail, post offices, these were the major arteries of communication in the past. So I showed you some of them. I hope you enjoyed this little walk down memory lane, history. And if you would like to see more, well, there's only one thing you should do. Keep yourself informed of when my videos are coming. You can do that by subscribing to my channel, liking my video, and also sharing it with your friends. And lastly, but the most important thing, what you must always do is to join me for my next adventure. I will see you there.